KwaZulu-Natal Finance MEC Nomusa Dube-Ncube has been announced as the province's premier candidate. The ANC in the province says Nomusa Dube-Ncube is more than capable to lead, as she is not new in leadership positions. For more on this, we're joined by political analyst Professor Bheki Mngomezulu. Prof, thank you very much for availing yourself this morning. Does this come as a surprise to you, as she was one of the front runners for the chairperson position, but she didn't even get the 25% support that she needed from the floor? What does this tell you about the unity of the party in KwaZulu-Natal?
No, thank you very much for having me, my sister, and good morning to your viewers. Yeah, first of all, to answer the first part of the question, it didn't come as a shock to me at all. In fact, yesterday I filled a number of interviews, and I was repeating one point, that of the three nominees that were suggested by the provincial leadership to the NEC of the ANC, Nomusa Dube-Ncube was in fact for me almost a certain candidate due to the experience that she has in government and many other portfolios that she has occupied, leading different ministries. But your second point about the fact that she was unable to make the threshold that was needed at the just concluded policy conference, policy conference of the ANC. Of course, that one might come as a surprise that she emerged victorious. But then those are different situations. During the conference, there were many candidates, and then of course, and this time around, there were only three of them. That is Amanda, and then of course Nomusa Dube-Ncube, and then of course as well as Mbali. So if you look at those three, the other two, that is Amanda and Mbali, they are MPLs, which means that they are also politicians in their own right. However, in terms of experience, Dube-Ncube was far ahead of them. Of course, some of them having just started in 2019, and then she has been in the legislature for quite some time. So in terms of experience, this should not surprise us. Then the last part of your question about unity in the province, there is something positive that I can observe that is happening with the current leadership. They demonstrated this on the day when the president of the country and the president of the ANC was concluding the conference. They calmed the situation, more especially the newly appointed chairperson, Siboniso Duma. He contained the situation and made sure that the president's credibility was protected, and also the credibility of the ANC and of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. So that is something positive. And when I was listening to all of them today, as they were introducing their premier-elect, they basically confirmed what I had already thought of them before. That is, they are trying their level best to make sure that they unify the province, given the fact that we knew before the conference that there were divisions, but then they were saying, now that we have emerged victorious, there shouldn't be a continuation of those divisions because we are all members of the same organization anyway. Whether they will succeed or not, that is a question for another day. But as things stand at the moment, I'm happy with the approach they've taken and the articulations they've made and the actions they've taken. All of them seem to be giving us the impression that they are determined to make sure that the province is united.
It was the chairperson who was pointing out that on the issue of her mandate, it's nothing new. She'll be implementing NC policies that already exist in equality, unemployment, rural empowerment, addressing some of those issues at least. And she also mentioned that she's going to be dealing with crippling issues of socio-economic challenges in KwaZulu-Natal, chief amongst which is unemployment. So if she's coming in to do nothing new, perhaps maybe if we just compare it with what the province has already experienced, does she have a lot to do where that is concerned, or the previous administration had actually done some work in addressing these issues that they believe are, part of their policies which have been implemented already?
No, yes, you're absolutely right. It's not as if the coming in of Nomusa Dube-Ncube is going to suddenly change everything that the province has been doing. Because, as I said earlier on, she is from the ANC, she is from the same government, she's been working with the outgoing Premier Sehlezi Galala, so they're implementing the same policies. The only difference now is that there is more pressure on the ANC, not just in KwaZulu-Natal alone, but nationally, for the party to implement some of its policy decisions. Because, truth be told, the ANC is not deficient in terms of coming up with forward-looking policies. The only area where the organization is lacking is on the implementation part, on implementation side. Now, Nomusa Dube-Ncube comes in at the time when the outgoing premier, in his exit speech, indicated that at some point there were only 2 departments that had clean audit, and right now, as he exits, there are 7 of them. So it means there's been some improvement. All the new premier then is supposed to do is to look at all the positives that Sihle Zikalala is living and build on those, and then identify areas of weaknesses and then try to improve on those. Because failure to do so will then obviously lead to retrogression, which wouldn't sound good, more especially because we have the upcoming 2024 general election whereby the ANC is supposed to up its game. You might have realized in 2021 that the IFP has in fact done a sterling job in terms of improving its presence and its visibility in KwaZulu-Natal, wherein the ANC lost 18 municipalities, 17 of them going to the to the IFP, and then one of them being taken by the DA, that is in Umgeni. So the reality of the matter is, as much as the new, the incoming premier, Dube-Ncube is going to continue what Zikalala has been doing, but then, of course, she has even a tougher mandate in this time around, because part of her job would be to consolidate what has been achieved, but then to have her eyes on the 2024 general election, failing which the ANC might not do well, and then she will be the one to blame and not Sihle Zikalala.
On the IFP, Mr. Mdolo would disagree with you on that. He said, well, they haven't done anything, especially where Zululand is concerned. That's the least developed in KwaZulu-Natal.
Who would not have done well? Is it the IFP or the ANC?
The IFP.
No, the IFP, in fact, has just taken these 17 municipalities of the 18, as I'm saying. But then it's too early to judge any political party after the 2021 local government election, because they just happened last year. Then the question will be, what has been the case in the previous years before 2021? That is the assessment we can make. We cannot make an assessment based on the just concluded elections in 2021, because even in those municipalities where the ANC is in charge, the same accusations could be made that you have been there for an X amount of years, but you have not done enough. There will always be those accusations, both from within the organizations and also from other organizations and from the general public. So that one will always be there. What Mdolo was saying basically was to say you shouldn't give too much credit to a political party using a specific time period. You must look at it over a long period of time. If, for example, Zululand has been under the IFP for a very long time and there's been no service delivery, then you have a case. You can say you have been there, you have led this particular municipality for so long, but we have not seen any changes. Then that will be justifiable and a fair assessment. But then if the party has just taken over, then of course there's a different ball game altogether. We understand, for instance, that at some point the NFP was also in charge, and then there were certain things that the NFP did well, but there were instances where the NFP was also accused of not having delivered on the services on the mandate. Even when the NFP was in a coalition with the ANC, similar accusations were leveled against political parties. So we'll always have this ongoing. So it shouldn't worry us, honestly, because it doesn't matter who is running a municipality or running a province. There will be those who will say, we give accolades, and then there are those who are going to say, we have not done enough, just up your game. That one will always be there.
Professor Bheki Mngomezulu, thank you very much for availing yourself this morning, giving us reaction to news that has just come in from the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal.